Welcome into a Friday edition of Turning Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. Down as you can see, we're joined by a guest off the top of the show today. It is, I'm told, a PAC champion on the 2005 Westminster baseball team.
So your boss, DJ, let you know that we were teammates on that team, huh? Because everyone equates me as a basketball player, but didn't know I played some baseball too. So
played some championship baseball, Coach.
Yeah, and a really good baseball team, that's for sure.
You know, but people that are tuning in might be a little bit more interested that you were the head coach of the GIRARD boys basketball team, and we definitely appreciate the time and having you come on to help us preview this team.
Oh, anytime, guys. I appreciate it. And like I said, what you guys are doing is great. DJ and I go back a long way to our Westminster days, so I'm glad to see he's doing something to fill a gap in the high school coverage area, because it is, the papers do what they can, day to day with games, but it is nice to see you guys with the multimedia, and it's good to be on your show.
Coach, my first question for you, obviously looking at last year's team, you guys were in a lot of games too, and the record doesn't quite speak for how competitive you guys were in a lot of games. And looking at it too, it was a very junior and sophomore heavy roster last year. So in a kind of meet the team segment, first off, are you excited for what this year's going to bring with all that experience coming back? And let's kind of go through a meet the team segment, older and younger players.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have a lot of guys back. The only guy we lost from last year's team was Nick Cario, who did start for us and did a lot of good things. But the bulk of the guys we have back are our seniors and juniors, and a lot of them are going to be 3-year, 4-year letter winners. So off the top with our seniors, Ashton Pozaga and Jordan Grant, I believe they are both 2-year letter winners and obviously on their way to 3-year letter winners. Two kids that have really worked their butts off to improve in every aspect. And then our bulk of our group are our junior class. Guys like Thomas Cardero, Bobby Algiers, Gus Johnson, Ryan Fitzgerald, some newcomers with Jordan Johnson, who was a sophomore last year but got minutes later in the year. And then Mike Palmer, who came in this year. He'll be new to us this year. That junior group's really going to carry us. And a lot of those guys have been playing since freshman year. And, we did have a lot of close games last year. I think what people don't realize is even though it was their second year playing, they were still a lot of sophomores on the floor, still a lot of growing pains. And when you didn't have the offseason because of COVID 2 summers ago, we had the Trumbull County health shutdown. It just felt like we never got our footing. And hopefully with a full season, full off season, lots of experience, those sort of things that popped up early in the year and kept us out of a lot of close games, we'll get over the hump with those.
And, when you talk about all this experience bringing back, and then you look around at the scope of the 88, a lot of the teams in the top tier of this conference lost a lot of players to graduation. You come into this year as one of the more experienced teams in the league. Talk about the NE8, how you expect it to shape up this year and how you expect to contend in it.
I'm sure every coach that's come on here has talked about the NE8 is going to say the same exact thing that I'm going to say, but that's just how tough it is. It's a well-coached league. It's very balanced. There is no easy game, and not that any conference in the area, has any easy games, but it just feels like ours is top to bottom really, really tough. Yeah, Struthers ran the gauntlet on everyone last year because they were just super talented and did a great job. But I do think this is as balanced of a league. And you did mention graduation. Obviously, Struthers graduated a good amount. South Range graduated a good amount. But teams like Jefferson, even Hubbard, Poland, us, there's a lot returning there. And I know just because a couple schools graduated some and are in a different time frame than we are, it's still going to make for good basketball. And I look forward to seeing, the teams that did graduate a bunch, what they're able to bring back, because I still think they're going to provide a good challenge.
Coach, looking at your non-conference schedule, I mean, including opening up with Ursuline too on the 30th too. So we'll plug that in. That's the November 30th, a Tuesday night opener with Ursuline. Some other great non-conference games. I'm seeing Lowville, Salem in the early going. Talk about this non-conference schedule, and do you think these kind of high competitive games are going to really help you in developing this team this season?
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about being prepared and ready for March, and I think that's what a non-conference schedule is also willing to do. Salem knocked us out of the tournament last year. So when we had the opportunity to schedule them during the regular season, we wanted to do it. we have a lot of respect for those guys down there, and that's going to be on a neutral floor at Poland in the United Way Classic. So that'll be a lot of fun. When we come up with the non-conference schedule, we understand that we want to make it a little tougher, and that goes right along with the Northeast State schedule because that's going to be tough too. And I know most of the Northeast State teams feel they're fully prepared for tournament play because of the conference, but we also want our non-conference to get us ready for that as well.
Coach, when you look at the players on the roster and the team that you're kind of having, what are some things that you guys want to improve on from last year, grow on from last year, and build on from last year?
I think late in games, we didn't do a great job of finishing it off, and I think we'll do a better job this year because of experience. We want to play a little faster this year. I thought last year we had to play a little slower, a little more of a half-court game, and that's not the way we want to play. And in the summer, that's not the way we wanted to play at all, and we didn't. So I'm hoping that this year we just play a lot faster. And I think defensively we can get a lot better too, provide a little more pressure. We're deeper than we were last year. We have more bodies. I just think on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to play at a much faster pace and force the issue on the offensive end as well.
Talking about the summer work that you guys put in, and it always starts with summer when trying to implement that new game plan and that kind of change of strategy. How did the summer work go, and talk about some growing points that you saw within the team?
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. When the season ended last year, I called the guys that were coming back into a meeting, and I gave it to them pretty good as far as their commitment to us. I let them know that I felt like the commitment wasn't quite there, and they really responded. I was very proud of them and how they responded in the summer. And one of the things we talked about is just how our skill level needs to get better. Our skill level needs to rise up and be a little better than it was. But also our overall commitment, not missing workouts, coming to any summer league. We host the summer league at Girard. So coming to those, any shootouts we had on college campuses, making sure we were going to those. And I just felt overall they responded to me kind of calling them out and telling them that it wasn't good enough. And I've been really proud of this group for doing that because that's not easy to hear. It's not easy to hear that, it just didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But at the same time, it's a credit to those kids that they've come right back and proven me, wrong, that they weren't putting that commitment in because they really did that this summer. And it was just, it was a really good off season for us. And hopefully that leads to us having a good season.
I think the hard work in the summer is a good segue to my next question because the more and more we cover Girard athletics, and we've been with you guys for a while at YSN, the more we kind of realize this community, this school, every athlete in it has this kind of hard-nosed work ethic, kind of always chip on their shoulder kind of mentality. Do you think this basketball team really kind of embodies that work ethic and that mentality?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, that's something we really harp on here. A lot of our kids play multiple sports, so you're seeing a lot of the same kids, and all of our coaches are harping on the same exact things that we want from our kid. But a Girard kid overall is just a tough kid. It's my 10th season at Girard, and I can honestly say I don't think I've really had many, or if any, soft teams. They're going to play very hard. They're going to provide everything they possibly can for you. And what's been great this fall, we had great success all throughout. We had cross-country runners head to state. Our volleyball team made a district final. Our football team won a playoff game. And we want to roll that into the winter momentum. And we are all very much rooting for each other to do well. So that toughness comes, from every sport, and we hope to carry that over into our winter sports season.
From both what you would assume a player's perspective and from a coaching perspective, what makes being in Girard so unique?
I think that family atmosphere is very unique. And I know a lot of people use that cliche and use that term, but at Girard, that means more than anything else. We are a very tight-knit community. I'm lucky to teach here, from our teaching staff, our coaches, all the way through. I think once you get here, you realize how special and unique it is. And I really saw that as soon as I got here, but especially when the football team made that state championship run. I could see the crowds and the people that were at those games coming to our basketball games not long after. It's just a very close family-like atmosphere, and it's not a cliche here. They live that, we breathe that, and we're hoping to continue that tradition here.
Another perfect segue into my next question, because you talked about the atmosphere and the crowds that you guys get at Girard. How excited are you to kind of get back to an open gym and get back to being able to feed off this amazing student section 1, and then crowd support that aren't students as well at Girard?
I was actually, my assistant and I were going through some old games last year, and it didn't hit me until about a minute in. I was saying to myself, boy, our crowds were light last year. Well, it was because of COVID. No one was allowed in. And, it made me realize how lucky we are that we do get the support. But it was eerie last year, walking into a big game, and there was no big game feel. You were lucky to have 40 people in the stands, no student sections. Not all of those things really matter. And I know a lot of the pro and college sports have mentioned how nice it is to have fans back. I think the high school atmosphere is as good as any when it's packed and the students are there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot more of that. So I know Girard will support, and I'm hoping when we go on the road, even though it makes it tougher, I hope the other teams and the other schools provide that support as well, because I really missed it. And I don't ever want to see empty bleachers again. That's not why we do this.
Naturally, you don't want to see the empty bleachers, Coach. And, of course, you got those 3 straight home games to open your season with Ursuline, Lowville, and South Range. We know the Girard community is faithful, and they're going to show up well. But if there's anybody on the fence about going to these games or going to any of Girard's home games, what's kind of the sales pitch to come out and check the Indians this year?
Well, I just think hopefully we work hard enough to make the community proud. But at the same time, these are a lot of the kids that have been coming up through this program, have started since they were freshmen. And hopefully we play a brand of basketball that's going to be a lot of fun, but at the same time, they're going to continue to work hard and ultimately reach our goals when we get to March. But, as far as the sales pitch is concerned, the best thing we can do is go out and play as hard as we can and win. And that other stuff will take care of itself.
Coach, this is something we like asking the coaches that we talk to, especially ones that are former athletes. What would Coach Hannon tell player Craig Hannon if he could go back in time and give your younger self some words of wisdom?
Probably 2 things, and I think my high school and college coaches would agree: hit the weight room and play a little more defense. I was not known for my defensive prowess, and I was not known as a very physically imposing person, but I would go back and most certainly tell myself, hit the weight room a little more. And I think kids have a great advantage of that now. I think we really harp on that. Back when I played, it was more of a luxury, but it's something I wish I'd have done a better job of. So if I was coaching myself, those would be the first 2 things I would tell myself.
We know every great coach likes to surround themselves with a great staff, so this is your opportunity to shout out your assistants and all those other big proponents that you have for the season coming up this year.
My staff, and I'm sure everyone feels the same way for their staff, but I am very lucky to have Mike Del Ben on my staff. He's been a coach for about 45 years in the area. He's a Girard Hall of Famer as a coach, coached at McDonald, coached multiple girls teams. He's been on my side now for 6 years. I hired a new coach this year, Pat Carden, coming over. He was a Springfield assistant. Pat was looking for a new spot, and I was lucky to scoop him up. I'm really happy to have Pat. And then a couple other guys I do need to shout out. One is Phil Kilborn. He does my 7th grade for me, but he is in the gym with us at all times, especially in the summer and off season. Phil does a lot for us. And then the rest of my junior high staff, Zach Fedesky and Joe Vivolo, anything I ask, they do. I'm really lucky here at Girard and outside of the staff. There's tons of people always willing to help the program, help the kids, and that's really important. But I've had some continuity, but I've also had new blood, but it never feels like I have new blood because they come right in and everything that's expected of them, they do.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, helping us preview this basketball season. We look forward to covering you all season, and we know you're going to have a successful year, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let DJ know I said hello, and tell him he still can't catch up to my fastball.